Welcome to the Physics of Sound. We're going to do a quick overview of the course this semester. This semester is extended as a Gen Ed course for DMI students, primarily DMI students, but music majors as well. And quite frankly, anyone that has an interest in music and how it works, or sound and how it works. But it's really helpful to have some of the musical language under your belt before you take this course. Because this is a general education course, we have our overarching general education goals. And here it's understanding use of qualitative and quantitative methods for analysis and problem solving. You're going to be doing a lot of that. And demonstrating ability to apply the scientific method to understand the natural sciences. More specifically in this course, we're after a bunch of different things, but scientific method, use math, algebra to solve physics problems. You make sure you know the appropriate units. Units are always what we're talking about. And the reason I say that is I live 5 from campus. Well, without units, that sentence has no real meaning. I live 5 what from campus. We're going to be using Excel. We're going to use Excel the whole semester because I want you guys to get to where you're really good at making calculations with Excel. Excel is what I use all the time for making calculations. I rarely use a calculator unless I'm just out and about and just have to grab my phone to calculate something. And so we're going to be learning to use Excel. We're going to use it every week. We're going to learn to correctly apply the order of operations in making calculations, and Excel will help with that a good bit. We're going to study sound waves. We're going to study resonance. We're going to study musical instruments. We're going to study interference. We're going to study electricity, passive filters, and household electricity. All of these and being able to apply the laws of physics to all of these really important, and they're part of our goals for this course. The topics we're going to cover and when we're going to cover them. Sound waves is going to be our first content topic up, and each one of these is a module in Canvas. Resonance is the next one. Physics of hearing, and how do we actually hear, and some of the scales we use in terms of sound because of how we hear. And these first three are going to be covered on the first exam. And then we have fundamentals and harmonics, tubular instruments, reflection and interference. These next three form the next exam. Then electricity, RC circuits and passive filters, electrical safety and household wiring. These are the topics we're covering. Each one of these corresponds to a module. You get 3 modules per exam, so you're not overloaded, biting it off in smaller chunks, 3 per exam. So what do I mean by some of this? What are sound waves, right? We're going to cover frequency and wave velocity, the speed of sound, and temperature dependence of the speed of sound. And resonance, the types of resonance there are, closed tube, open tube, strings. We're looking a good bit at resonance because that's the fundamental of how you make a musical instrument is resonance. Physics of hearing. We're going to look at the parts of the ear. You didn't think, oh, this is a physics of sound class. Why are we learning about the ear? Well, what do we hear with? We hear with the ear. You need to know your instruments. Your ear is very important, and how it works is very important, and how to keep it safe is also very important. Audio illusions, we'll look at a few of these just because they're fun, and the decibel scale. And how we hear is the whole reason for the decibel scale. How we perceive sound is the whole reason for the decibel scale. Fundamentals of harmonics, what are octaves? The math behind harmonics. There are other scales out there, but they share some things in common with our scales because of the math behind our harmonics. And we're going to look at string instruments. String instruments are one of our more straightforward instruments. Then we're going to look at tubular instruments, which come in 2 major variety, close-ended and open-ended. Open-ended flutes and organs, closed-ended oboes, clarinets, horns, things like that. We're going to look at reflection and interference. Really important if you're trying to do a room treatment to understand reflection and interference. We talk about speaker synchronization, constructive and destructive interference, reflection minimization, sound absorption. I'll probably throw a paper or two at you about some really cool things out there right now. All of this All this to get you kind of into what does all of this mean and give you a better intuitive feel for what's going on in a room when you walk into it. Electricity. You got to study electricity. Why? It's what we use for generating sound most of the time. We use electricity all the time in the generation, transmission, recording, you name it. So we're going to look at voltage, current, resistors, resistor network, power, maximum power transfer. That's a big one when it comes to how do you hook up your speakers. RC circuits and passive filters. So we're going to look at low pass filters, high pass filter, band pass filters, your crossover filter. These things are pretty straightforward once you have a feel for them. Crossover is a little different. We're not going to study it too much, but you're going to be able to design these types of passive filters. All right. Passive filters means one thing really simple. You don't have to power them. That's what a passive filter means. It works without power. Electrical safety and household wiring. We're going to look at what power is versus what energy is. We're going to look at current breakers, GFCI breakers, household distribution of power, all the kinds of things you have to think about. And these are all things you have to think about if you're running off a generator as well. Just basic safety, basic, this is how things work, real basic around how you would do some of this work. And hopefully this will help you really understand how to set up different things at times and kinds of things you need to think about in terms of setting up equipment. And um, again, our overview, these are going to be our 9 content modules. There'll be 3 modules that are the exams, and then there's a module that starts off the semester that you need to be working through right now. The grades from the syllabus, evaluation and grading, we're going to have topic quizzes, discussions. When I give you a discussion, you're going to participate in the discussion. You're going to have to uh, add to at least 2 other people's answer to the discussion and trying to get to a good answer. And then when it's all over, you're going to go off on your own and give me a final answer on the discussion question. And so these are separate pieces. In this piece, discussion, you're working with your peers, trying to figure it out. Here, you don't do this until you think you've got it figured out. This is physics. There are a lot of problems. We're going to be doing the problems. You're going to have 10 a week when we have a content module, and you're going to have to just work through them. Don't put them off to the end. Lab exercises every week. We're going to have something you either do at home with things you should have at home or with some equipment we're putting together here on campus that you'll be able to pick up. Midterm exams. There are 3 midterm exams. They're worth 25% of your grade. And then there's the final exam that's worth 10% of your grade. From the syllabus, more topic quizzes. They're 5 points each. They're going to be, these are really, did you either watch the video and or read the PowerPoint slides? That's what the topic quiz is. Discussion question. Here's the breakdown on discussion questions. Your initial post is 4 points. And then following up with 2 others is up to 3 points for each follow-up. And you're going to be randomly assigned by Canvas 2 people to follow up with. Discussion final answers. All right, your final answer is worth 10 points. So 10 points for correct, 8 points correct, but you don't really make it clear how you got there. 6 points for kind of getting there. 4 points for you're not getting there at all, and then 0 points is really you're not getting there at all. 4 points is you were in a direction. 0 points you weren't headed there at all, or you didn't answer at all. All right. Problems worth 10 points each week. There's the Discord server for you guys to work with each other. You are expected to work with each other. You are not on your own in this. You're expected to ask questions in office hours or tutoring hours. You're during my tutoring times every week. You're expected to ask questions. We're going to be touching base every week at one point during the evening. You ask questions then. This is all about asking questions. Lab exercises. These are designed so you can do them on your own, but if you have someone that you live with that's also taking the class, feel free to work it together. Just let me know you're working together, and both parties have to turn in everything, and both parties have to answer questions in the lab exercise on their own. But actually working through the exercise and taking the data, you can do that together. Midterm exams. There are going to be several pieces to the midterm exams. The way I do it online exams is I break it into pieces. So you don't have to stress too much. Each piece, most of it you can do more than once. Each piece is timed separately, so you can pick up the multiple choice, do that, then pick up the discussion when you get a chance, and do that. Then pick up the simple problems and do those. And then there's a complex problem. Once you've done the other three pieces, you can do the complex problem. And that's going to be a discussion in a small group where the group is trying to come up with how to solve the problem. And so you're going to have to be part of that discussion. And once you guys think you've gotten to where you know what to do, then you're going to go over and do your piece. It's an individual piece and actually solve the problem. And so you get you get a good chance to work with your peers on the more complex problem. Final exam is going to be exactly the same. All right. So I've given you a whole week for the exam because of this. You've got to be able to work together piece. And final exam, we'll we'll get this kicked off. Um, we'll get this kicked off so that in plenty of time for you guys to be able to work together and reach a happy conclusion on that. This is an online course. All right, it didn't start off that way back in the spring, but it is now. And being online means you simply have to actively participate every week. That's that's the standard. Every week, I need to see you turning in something. Well, you have, let's see, one, two, three, four, a minimum of four assignments every week. And so you got to be able to get to those done, right? Now, you don't have to get all of them done, but I've got to see you do at least one. And here's the thing, you need to get them all done, because if you don't get them done, that means you're behind. And that means the next week is even worse. So you really got to stay on top of it. Still from the syllabus, this is our weekly schedule and what we're going to be doing. And you can see here, we're getting started, sound waves, resonance, physical hearing, exam one, right? Fundamentals, tubular instruments, reflection interference, exam two, electricity, RC circuits, electric safety, household wiring, exam three. And then we get into final exams. There's going to be review in here. Final exams don't actually start until, let's see, the 23rd, 22nd, 19th. 19th final exam start. We're going to have some review time in here before we kick off the final exam. All right, and that's it for our overview of the physics of sound. Hopefully this helps prepare you for the class and kind of gets you an idea of where we're going. And I will, we're going to have a Zoom session soon. Watch for an announcement around that, just to have a meet and greet, if you will. There are several assignments that are up in the first week. Get those done. They contribute to your grade and they're easy. And that's it for this overview. Hope to talk to you soon.